firstly, thank you to everybody who practically crashed the server, who came along to the Tarot Psyche workshop the other night on the Magical Egypt channel. That was graciously and kindly and wonderfully hosted by the folks there. It was a great night. We had a great time. It was a distraction from all the mainstream media and alternative media doom and so on. So it was a good night, and I felt very much among family. I felt among my tribe, among my soul tribe. I felt very much unalone that night and in the company of people and good souls, and I hope you felt the same way too if you took part in it. Maybe we'll have another one and we'll set it up for even a bigger bandwidth this time. Now, here we are. It seems to be at this point in the curfew, self-isolation, social distancing age of reason and irrational reason that I'm noticing starting to change now, as the mainstream media has been very, very active in telling us how worse it gets, particularly state media, BBC, RTE, Deutsch, all the European public broadcasters and PBS in America. These are directly. You have to remember, these are state propaganda operations. They're not anything else. They're state propaganda that dabbles in entertainment and sports and things like that, but they're not TV broadcasters. They're propagandists who dabble in broadcasting. So you always have to remember that. So they have been very quick to sex up the numbers and the hysteria around the coronavirus numbers increasing, but the numbers have stabilized now in Italy, which is a huge positive event. And there's not a blip on the media, barely a blip on the media about it, because it's given these journalists who are the dreg. You have to remember, journalists are generally the dregs of humanity, and they crave. They're basically the ultimate psychic vampires, and they're craving that from you. It's a drug. This is where yellow journalism and black journalism and sensational journalism and hype journalism comes from, and gutter journalism. It's to feed off your psychic energy. They are behind them as some other kind of entity, a C333 type entity that feeds off this. It's probably the same one that feeds off the biblical stuff, the Old Testament stuff, of the fear and terrors and the horrors and that. Now, so remember, there's some positive news there. Now, that's not I'm not using this to say that people have died or to play that down or say that's not a great human tragedy. And while the majority of people who have passed over and have died from COVID-19 have almost overwhelmingly been very, very old people or individuals with underlying conditions such as cancers and particularly diabetes, people respiratory issues, and people with HIV, liver issues. It's and kidney issues. It's not to diminish that. It's to say that's what happened, and it's great sorrows we should feel for those people and their families. But the reality is that most people who get it will recover either through hospital care or by themselves at home or whatever. The important thing now is to keep a strong mental attitude, because I've noticed we're at the point of the isolation where people I know are going crazy. I'm not going to say who it is, but I saw the most hysterical copy and paste bullshit that was clearly written by someone else. It was like one of these chain letter type things that someone I know had posted, and it was just hysterical. And it had been clearly written and very professionally written. That's why I know it wasn't written by the individual who posted it, because they can't write like this. And it was definitely posted to, disseminated out there to create as much fear as possible about you dying alone and this kind of thing in a hospital, not being able to see your family. It was definitely, I could see the psychic vampirism was extremely strong in that. That's not to say these things won't happen. Of course it will happen. There's lots of people who die of cancer and AIDS in hospital on their own with no one to visit them, and it's a great tragedy of life. I know this thing will pass. It will go, and it will, que sera, sera. What happens. I'm saying, I'm still in my mind, still in my mind, Corona has lost its shine by April 9. Now, it's not, this is important. It's not Corona will lose its shine by April 9. That's Christianity begging Jehovah for spiritual welfare. It's Corona had lost its shine by April 9. This is how chaos magic works, and this is how this kind of concept works, is that you've already put it in a dismissive or subservient manner with inside your consciousness. It doesn't change the virus in the world. It doesn't alter medical science. What it does, it makes you feel better and allows you, possibly in a state of superiority to the hype, build your own immune system, that if you do get corona, you're not going to be sitting there going, oh sweet Jesus, Mary and Joseph, please make me live. It's not that kind of spiritual begging, medieval plague ridden, spiritual warfare. It's like it's a warrior going to war. Corona had lost its shine by April 9. If you want to write it on a piece of paper, put it on a piece of wood, just write COVID-19, coronavirus, or draw the virus would be even better. To do all three. Don't put your own sigil or anything like that on it. And set fire to it in your backyard, or throw it right on a plank and throw it into your fireplace, or, small piece of paper and burn it on a candle. And as it's happening, go, Corona had lost its shine by April 9, as a mantra. And even like we'd pump it out, like think it's like a song, like Corona had lost its shine by April 9. Corona had lost its shine by April 9. Now, there's people out there saying it's bullshit, and it's bullshit, yeah, if you think it's going to kill the virus. But as you do that, your subconscious mind, if you saw the Tarot Psyche workshop that night, is listening and going, lost its shine, lost its shine. And it's actually helping you feel better. And therefore, while you're glued to the BBC or PBS or RT websites, reading the latest horror stories and totals of deaths, there's nothing you can do about that, okay? There's nothing you can do to resurrect the people who died in Italy and so on. But what's happening really is you're getting more depressed, more upset, and your immune system is now deteriorating. We know for a fact that stress is directly created to to such things as immunity deterioration, and even psychic and psychological deterioration. One of my Facebook friends, David Moore, who wrote the book on UFOs, Evolutionary Metaphors, quoted from, I don't know, it was Valet or someone else yesterday, about that UFOs are, this has been known right back to Jung and the first book on flying saucers, that lights in the skies are directly related to stress in society. Stress in society is causing this, right? And and your immune system is directly connected to all this, because it's connected ultimately to your psychic state, your nervous system, and your nervous system can get a good feeling. It connects into, you feel it in your bones. It's connected to your whole physiology. So if you're sitting there all the time, scrolling the RT or BBC or PBS News, getting the latest horror stories, you're deteriorating your own immune system by the fears that your subconscious mind is gaining from this. Your subconscious minds think it's going to die. Where if you do something as stupid or as a ritual, a personal ritual of burning a piece of paper with coronavirus written on it, or destroy the virus, you're sending a message to your lower poles of cognition, your subconscious mind, that thinks you've won. Remember, it's like a child down there. It needs to be sheltered from all the neuroses that are packed within your left-brained 5 sense everyday social mask. And that's very important to do this. Don't let this thing get on top of you. And likewise, it's no use there sitting watching Netflix all day, watching Fleabag on Netflix non-stop, and switching over to Hula or some other channel and watching all kinds of other things. I think some of the things they're doing, because the football season has ended, a lot of people who are into soccer are watching games from the past that cheered them up. I think that's a great idea. I know you all say, "Oh, sports! It's the Roman centurions, and it's how they control the masses." But if you can watch Ireland's a film of Ireland playing Italy in the 1994 World Cup, or Man United winning, if you're a Man United fan, the 1998 Champions League, or when the Mets won the 19, I think it was 88 or 89 World Series, which was a fantastic thing at the time, and so on. Pussycat coming to say hello. Uh, yes, it helps you. It's building your immune system, but don't then do that and then go right to the news media websites and get the latest horror story. Remember, it's stabilizing from what we can tell in Italy. This is fantastic news, and the media has kept it away. Now, it's very easy to say for people to say, oh, being positive in this situation is just denial. No, watching Fleabag on Netflix is denial, because you're just doing it to kill your boredom. Uh, it's almost like a kind of a distraction. If you can distract your subconscious mind away from the fears and the phobias, that's why one of the reasons I think self isolation is good for me and for people around here is not just because it's a way of getting rid of the virus or dealing with it, not spreading it. Is I'm getting sick and now sick and tired of going to shops and seeing yellow tape with black and white stripes on them, saying stand here, walk there, socialized distancing squares, stand here, don't stand there, little soldier, and that's actually getting me more than anything, because I'm seeing. Well, I've always known that most people are mindless sheep anyway, but the normies are just they're even worse than I thought they were. But fear is a tremendous motivator. It's a tremendous control. I honestly believe the governments don't. And I'm hearing things like always listens to what scientists and doctors tell you. Dr. Mengele, Unit 771, the Japanese Army, the eugenics doctors in America, thalidomide. No, you shouldn't always. You shouldn't have an unconditional love in doctors any more than you should have unconditional love in anything else. You Yes, they have the most debate. They give you the chances, and they have the ways out of these things. They can give you the equipment to keep you alive, but you don't unconditionally listen to them. And also, secondly, I'm not seeing many doctors on the TV. What I'm seeing mostly are politicians and bureaucrats. I see politicians and bureaucrats standing around. Many of them have no medical training, sitting there saying, we must do this, we must do that. I find that incredibly suspicious to begin with. Now, there are healthcare workers on my Facebook friends list who are on both sides of the spectrum. Some say it's absolute bollocks. It's just another seasonal bug. It's no worse than, probably less worse than swine flu was back 10 years ago, that infected in America alone 60 million people and killed 100,000. And others say, well, I'm seeing younger people under 40 coming in on respirators. But that's not every young person under 40 coming in on a respirator. And a lot of this might be disseminated to, and I'm not saying that those people aren't on the respirators, but like they'll always hype up the worst because they don't have enough rest. This is another thing too. They're getting all these testing centers out. What's the point of that? You're putting yourself in danger, more likely of infection by going to a test center. Stay at home. It's much better. Unless you're very, very ill, don't go to any doctors or nurses or hospitals, because those places are cauldrons of infection. Just practice common sense and all this kind of thing. And look, we'll be okay. It'll be fine in the end. Human race, we go through wars, we go through pestilence, we go through earthquakes. We had an earthquake in Croatia yesterday. So things like that, that'll have easily taken their mind off the virus, and they'll be working on that then. It's how life is, this great rich pageant of existence. There's light and shadow in this whole story. And yeah, when it's pulled through, and I really am very strongly connected to the idea of Corona will lose its shine by April 9, is not a way to go. The way to go is Corona had lost its shine by April 9, is the antidote to this wishful thinking of will lose, could it, maybe, might it, should it, please God. Put it in the past in your mind, and move on. There's a great thing, we all go through shit times in life, whether relationships, breakups, divorces, the death of a loved one, the loss of a business, everything. The sooner you put that in the past, and I know it's not always easy, but the sooner you put that in the past, is the sooner you get that awful expression, closure. And anything you can do to get that, beyond being pathological, is, like revenge and things like that, is to just move on, distract yourself from it. find a way to distract yourself, because distraction is a great healing tool. You'd be amazed by that, in terms of how it can then allow you to move forward. Just push it out. Distraction for the sake of pushing it out away for a few minutes, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, okay, I'm doing something else now. The problem is still over here. I'm doing something else. That's changing your neurology. It's building new neural. That's why these rituals are important. I am not telling you or asking you or imploring you to do that. Corona had lost its shine, has by April 9, burning the image of this, or the name of the thing on a piece of paper, because I think it has, I'm a spiritual man giving you spiritual powers. I'm giving you something that will tell your lower poles of cognition a different information than the fear. How many years have we been listening to the likes of everyone from, I don't know, Grant Morrison spoke about the other day, David Icke back in the day, all saying the same thing. You're in a fear-based paradigm. Yeah, that's how they control you. You all know that. So why are you buying into that? At the same time, too, don't be all airy fairy. Like, it's gone. Everything's wonderful. There's a middle ground, which I like to think I am helping you, and I express through all my work, is that yes, all the spiritual stuff is true, but all the practical stuff is true, and you never throw the baby out with any of the bathwaters. And that's the whole point. Yes, you'll still need doctors, but yes, I have a great belief in the human spirit to overcome adversity, and things like rituals are important for this. If you want to do Corona had lost its shine by April 9 ritual, and you want to surround yourself with your little statues of Kali or the Virgin Mary or whatever you want, your Christian candles, your crystals, your sage, that's great. Don't let anyone make fun of you. This is your personal home, and you can do whatever you want to make you feel better. Don't like this. This is the time to get out your little crystals and stuff like that. Be whatever helps, whatever gets you through this. The human spirit is this. We have these drives within us as a real method of altering our biology by means of changing our psychic programming, which in effect alters our nervous system, which in effect alters our condition. You'll see it you look at your pets. If your cats or dogs are looking fretting and worried and depressed all the time, and not playing and not being their usual self, you're not doing it right. You're in the wrong frame of mind. If your pet parakeet or your budgie or your canary is not singing, it's you. It's picking up on your nervous system. Likewise, the people around you. The best thing of all is not to. It's just like if you can calm them, if you can make them feel better, you're making you feel better, and therefore you're boosting your immune system. That way, if you do get the virus, you won't be as susceptible to it, because of the mental health equals the neurological health equals the nervous system health equals the biological health. And then if you get really sick, you go to the doctor. But the thing is to avoid that, and the best way to avoid that is a positive attitude. And the best way to avoid that is to attain that is to remove the fear from your subconscious mind, and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people are drinking through it. There's a lot of alcohol consumption going on right now. That's okay now and again. Once you're not doing it, and if you're feeling really shitty after it, next day, maybe you should stop and do something like go for a walk in the woods or something like that. I'm lucky that I live in the countryside and I can kind of move around, well, on the outskirts of a town, on the countryside, where I can kind of move around undetected, particularly at night. So I want to go for a late night walk, I will, and under the stars. And so I've got a lot of freedom that way. If you can find that's also a great morale booster as well. A little bit of freedom. And like I said, it seems nice, all these videos of people in isolation singing songs to each other. Have you noticed that's all stopped? Part of me the governments were loving that. They're putting that stuff out there. Enjoy your isolation. Those videos have all stopped now, because we're now at the point where there's people who have accepted it, and they've kind of developed a kind of peace within them. But there's lots behind closed doors who are like this. Oh my God. And this is the importance of ritual. This is the important. If you've got like I've got a friend who's called me up a few times now, in literally Mister Terror. I blocked his number. Nice fella and everything. I just can't listen to him. He's actually being turned on by the doom, and these are the people who need to get away from me as well. This is what I said the other day. This is a time now to get all the negative people out of your life. People who keep constantly dragging you into it. Look, it's very easy to tell who's the good, who you need in your life and who you don't. Forget social, societal programming, obligations, and all this kind of thing. If a phone rings and you see their name on the phone, if they make you smile, keep them. If the sight of their name makes you feel good, keep them. If the sight of their name makes you go, they have to go. If their voice is always, if you have a conversation with them and you feel like you're relaxed, you keep them. You have a conversation and you feel like you've been drained by them, they have to go. If they're constantly dragging you into their negative patterns, their hang-ups, their grudges, their revenge cycles, they have to go. They have to go. Anyone like that, you must remove from your life. Surround yourself with people who are either positive, pragmatic, or, like I said, they allow a song in your heart. This is who you really should be looking for right now. And when these comets and these asteroids come at the end of May, end of April, and the beginning of May, let them be the harbingers, the auguries of a new light that's shining within inside yourself, that's allowing you to see yourself and your life more clearly. What am I doing with these motherfuckers? Why am I obligated to them, bringing me down, dragging me into their shit constantly? If anything great comes from this, it should be the cleansing of our social circles of psychic vampires, misery guts, and I mean the old expression, misery loves company. Don't give them company. Don't. If you're on Facebook and someone's name is on Facebook and you can't wait to read their posts or have a laugh with them, these are the people you keep in your life. If you're reading their posts and they're saying it's all doom, 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 that's not the kind of people you need going forward in your life. This is not what life's about. I mean, I'm seeing certain individuals in the alt media scene who are just as morose, dark, and miserable as ever, and to a point where it's everything is like the government is out to kill you with a virus. It's all 5G. Okay, so you reading about this, talking about this, going on. This is going to stop it, right? Isn't it? Right? Isn't it? Sure, just like activism. Hasn't activism changed everything? Think about that one. Or do you want to be around someone who's like pragmatic about it, tells joke about it, shares funny memes about it, keeps your spirits up? It's really that simple. Who would you want to get into a lifeboat with if you're on a sinking ship? Someone who's keeps you in good spirits, but also is practical and on the middle path, or someone who's going, oh, I don't like these lifeboats. This is a plot to get us to sink in a lifeboat. The lifeboats are made of stuff that will dissolve in the water. Oh, I don't like him. I don't like her. Look at him who's pedaling the lifeboat. Do you trust him? He looks like he's. Who would you want to get into a lifeboat with if they were your two choices right now on a sinking ship? If they were both doomed even, who would you prefer to meet your demise among? The ones who left the song in your heart or the ones who stole your energy? These are the choices that we're being given at this point. This is the world we are now facing. Who do you want in your life? Misery always seeks company, but misery is rarely good company. Only for a short time, and then it destroys you. Who do you want to get in the lifeboat with? Corona will have no shine by April 9. And feck 'em if they can't take a joke.